You're listening to the Moody Mommies podcast.
Audio warning. You may or may not hear kids screaming and yelling in the background, or us screaming or yelling at them to keep it together. Hey everybody, we are back. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Vanessa.
And we are finally joined by one of our favorites, our fellow Moody Mommy and family member, Cindy. I will.
Woo! I have to do it this time. Sorry, had to.
Had to be done. All right. We have many stories to tell. And earlier I was talking about how I love doing the podcast with you guys, with our family members, because I really get an insight into what your experience is. And, you know, we see each other at family parties, but we don't really get to sit for an hour and just talk about what happened with our kids and, you know, whatever.
We're always chasing the kids around.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So, Cindy, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your family situation.
Well, I have 3 beautiful kids. They're angels, guys.
Always. 24/7.
No, I have 3 kids. One of them just turned 6, and I have a soon-to-be 5-year-old, and then I have a soon-to-be 1-year-old. So we have a very hectic household. It's all over, all type of personalities in here. So it gets a little crazy in here. And
I feel like our babies are so little, you know, with Elise being so small, I really kind of quarantined myself before any of this stuff started going on. Yeah. So I don't even really feel like I know Gio that well because she was born shortly after and he was still such a new baby. I don't really know him. So I'm really bummed about that.
He's a ghost. I'm just kidding. He's very active, very does not want to deal with walking or standing on his own. That's as far as like letting go of stuff, but he likes to climb on stuff, but he refuses to walk. I don't know why. But he is a little daredevil. He's obviously a mommy's boy. It's going to be right. Like that forever.
That's right. But we knew that. We knew that when you were pregnant with him. You're like, this one's mine.
This one's mine, yeah. I said that since the beginning. Robert is in denial, but that's okay.
So you said you just turned 6, just turned 5. You did the back-to-back.
Yes.
13 months.
13 months.
I can't believe that. I thought I was crazy.
Can you tell us how you found out that you were pregnant the second time?
So I was already, Ariana was 6 months when I found out I was pregnant. So I was 3 months pregnant already.
Oh my God.
When we found out because I was in complete denial. I just... Ariana's right next to me.
She's just laughing too.
I hear her little cute laugh.
She's mimicking me and actually making face expressions.
Aww.
So I was 3 months pregnant when we finally decided, I guess, to take a pregnancy test. To 2 of them, one of them said I was not pregnant, and the other one said I was. So I kind of just went with I'm not pregnant. But
I said no, so we're fine. Ignore the other one.
One of them came no, so it's a no. I told Robert, and Robert said, I don't think so.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. So he actually made the appointment to the doctor because I refused. I was just in complete denial. I just could not imagine myself having another baby with a newborn.
Yeah.
So finally, we went to the doctor, and I told them I was just not feeling well. She asked me, "Can you be pregnant?" I said, "I don't know." And they checked and they did an ultrasound and they said, "Oh, you are 3 months pregnant."
Oh my god.
Oh God.
This is just amazing. My reaction was obviously, I don't know if I was devastated, but I was just crying. I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. This is not how I planned it. But I guess there was just different plans for us. It was hard in the beginning, but now I see that it was a good decision just because the girls will always have each other and they're super close in age. So I know they'll be growing up together. And so I'm happy about that. But of course, in the beginning, I didn't even know how to tell my mom. I was already older and I was afraid to tell my mom. I wasn't afraid to tell her about my first one, but I was afraid to tell her about my second one. Uh, um, Robert was excited. He was jumping up and down. He thought he was, oh yeah, my boy. I said, oh yeah, right.
My boy. 50-50 chance, Cindy. It's my
I was,
boy.
yeah, I was like, you'll be in for a surprise. His parents were excited. Everybody was very supportive. But of course, I was just like, I have a little baby that's going to be one when, Bella's going to be born. And
We went to her first birthday party and you were just like ready to pop.
yeah, I was ready to blow up. So it was definitely not something I expected.
So during your pregnancy with Bella, did they think anything was going on with you, or did they just say, "Hey, this is
Um,
looking like a really good pregnancy. You're fine," monitoring you like normal?
Actually, with Bella, everything was very normal as far as what the doctors were saying. I didn't gain as much weight as I did with Ariana. So they were kind of like, you know what, you're right on track. The only thing they were a little off on was my due date, as far as like they weren't sure, well, maybe it'll be this day, maybe it'll be that. When I went in, I was already so far along. I couldn't remember, when was my last period or anything like that. I was
Right,
like,
you just
great.
had a baby. Like you're just bleeding afterwards for weeks. Like I don't know, was that even a period or was that
Uh,
just my freaking labor blood?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly how I felt. um, so I
My
couldn't tell
labor blood.
them that.
Freaking Cindy, did you even wait the 8 weeks?
I actually just waited. I'm just kidding.
She's not lying. It was 6 weeks on the
No.
dot.
So it was.
Back in
Seriously.
there.
Oh my gosh.
She was
You're so brave.
3 months pregnant. She was 3 months. She was 3 months barely when I got pregnant. So yeah, I was actually what right after. It's terrible. That's really terrible. I was traumatized as we waited so long to have Gio. So no, they thought everything was fine with us with Bella. They thought she was growing normal. I don't know how that was possible, but she was right on track. The due date that they finally decided to give me, which was May 16th, was actually when she was born. So they got it right. As far as her having complications, that they didn't get right. Her weight, they never got it right. It wasn't. They always told me she's good. She looks good. Her weight is fine for the amount of months you are. And then she was born, and even the doctors could not believe what they were seeing.
What were they seeing? We were all in shock.
They were seeing an 11-pound, 13-ounce child.
What? No.
Yeah, they were seeing an almost 12-pound child right in front of them. And they were like, what? I still can remember all three doctors and Robert in the room just looking at me like, what just happened? And then looking at Bella, and I'm like, what is going on? Because I still couldn't see her. But they were just like, what? What just? I was like, what? They're like, oh, and then they started guessing her weight. Like, oh, she's definitely a 10-pound baby. I was like, oh, 10 pounds. Okay, I guess. And then when they weighed her and they said her weight, I was like, what? Then we looked at her and she looked like the little Michelin baby. I said, oh my goodness.
I did not, just so you guys know, this is not the turn that I thought the story was going to take. I thought she was going to be like preemie, like 4
Like,
pounds or something.
Oh
yeah,
my
God.
yeah, she was 5 pounds. I'm just kidding.
Dude, Elise was 5 pounds, guys, and I was
Oh
dying.
my god!
Oh
I know.
my
I held
God.
her and I was like, "What? What is going on?" I'm so used to these giant children. After that, everything moved really, really fast, and it turned very, very scary because it went from, "Oh, you have a healthy baby," to they took her out of the room because they said, "Oh, you know what? She's healthy. She's good. We're just gonna check. Just because she's of her weight, we have to check her sugar levels." But other than that, she looks good. I said, okay. And then I told Robert, just go with her. I mean, obviously, it's a newborn. I don't know. I just felt like it was better. I couldn't go with her. You go with her. And he comes back with this devastated look in his face like, I don't know what to tell you, but I asked him what was wrong. And he was like, her oxygen level was really low. Her sugar levels were really, really low. And as the day went by, things got turned worse versus her getting any better. Then they said her heart was too big for
Oh my
her
God.
size. And then not all of her organs got fully developed.
Oh, I didn't know
Even
that.
Yeah, no, they weren't fully developed. So they had to keep her in observation, and then she had an infection that her body was not able to fight.
What was infection, do you know?
They weren't able to, because she was so little. They said they weren't able to tell me what type of infection it was or where the infection was. They just knew because of her blood level and like her white blood cells and all this stuff. They knew that she was fighting an infection, but she didn't have enough to fight it. So they had to put her on antibiotics for like a week. And then she got the second, so that every day we were getting like different news, and every day it was like, oh, we're going to keep her longer. We're going to keep her longer. So I kind of, what Robert was, I think that's the first time I actually see him cry because he just didn't know what to do because we had to go home
Because
without a baby.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we have a 1 year old at home. It's like, what do we do? We have to be strong because we have a 1 year old, but then we're like falling apart because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the outcome. They had her not with oxygen. They had her, she wasn't able to breathe on her own for like, I want to say it was like 5 days or something like that. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was a few days. But then she was fighting also. She had really bad jaundice, so they had to put her in the incubator. So we couldn't even hold her for a while because they just had to keep her in there all the time. Finally, one day they were able to take the oxygen off. So they told us, depending on how she does today, maybe we'll let her go home. I think that was like a Friday. So they told me maybe we'll let her go home Saturday. But then we got back Saturday, and they said no, maybe tomorrow, depending on how she does. So finally, a week, 7 days after we had her, 7 days after we had her, we were able to take her home. I was so scared because I was reading of another case of another baby. It was same thing, same that he was a newborn. Everything that Bella had, that baby boy had too. And they took him home. And when they took him home, he stopped breathing and he passed away. So I did not sleep. I would just stare at her like, just keep breathing. Like, is she okay? So it was very draining in the beginning trying to make sure she was okay. And then we still had doctor's appointments with her frequently to make sure all her levels and everything went back to normal and make sure her heart would go back to normal, which it did. Eventually, everything went back to normal, and now she is the healthy, adventurous, feisty little girl that I have.
So did they say why she weighed so much and why her heart was enlarged?
They were never able to prove what really happened, but their guess, because of the cases that they've had before, their guesses were more that I was diabetic during the pregnancy. They did obviously do the glucose test on me, and I always passed it. So my sugar levels never came up high when they did it. So they think that it happened towards the end of the pregnancy. So I became diabetic towards the end of the pregnancy. And that's actually when she started gaining the more weight, which was kind of weird because I remember very vividly going to my 5 month checkup. You know how they measure the baby, to see how big and everything. And I remember the nurse telling me, like, I was 5 months pregnant, and she's like, your baby's already like almost 8 pounds.
What?
And I was like, what? Like, I was just like, what? So me and Robert were like, what? She's like, yeah, like, I think you're gonna have the baby before May 16th. Like, there's no way they're gonna wait till then. So they because during that time I switched doctors. I think that's where the confusion came in. The doctor had already changed my due date from May 16th to like the end of April, beginning of May, I think it was. But because that's when I did all that change, the other doctor, I kept telling them everything and they kind of didn't listen. Even though, don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful hospital. I loved, from all three of my kids, that is my favorite hospital. That was the doctors, my delivery was just the best there. But they kind of dropped the ball as far as listening to what I was saying. Like, there's something, she's big, like, I know. But they would just measure my stomach and they would think, your weight is fine, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I went to a appointment and they told me she was this big and they didn't follow up on it. So
Right, because if they would have known that she was going to weigh that, they would have either induced you earlier or had to do a C-section.
yes,
Okay.
correct. They would have never let me deliver a baby that big.
Vaginally.
Yeah, that would have not. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened. They probably would have let me gone full term, but they wouldn't have let me have her vaginally for sure.
Yeah.
They were shocked that they're like, you don't know how many other things could have gone wrong. Like, she could have dislocated her shoulder. You could have dislocated your hip. Like, so many things could have gone wrong, and it didn't. You know,
Yeah,
like thankfully it didn't. You know, there was a few complications here and there, but nothing that we had to worry about in the long run. So that was good.
it like terrified me because I was pregnant at the same time, and I was just like, oh my god, our Escobar baby's this big? Is that gonna happen to me? Like, what am I gonna do? And then also, the fact that you guys had to go home without the baby, it just feels like that's your worst nightmare. Like, how do you leave your baby at the hospital? But you have to. And you had, like you're saying, you had Anna at home, so there was no choices there.
Did stay an extra day at the hospital, and but then after that we just had to come home and just had to keep it together. And it sucked when family like would call and they would ask like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. Like, some of my aunts would call me and tell me, and I would just break down in tears. And I was like, I can't do this in front of my 1-year-old. Like, I have to keep it together. And, obviously seeing Robert all broken, it like, because I had never seen him like that, it just like broke me apart. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. Are we going to get to take her home? And then you get to see so many other cases in there, and it just blows your mind. Like, it really, for me, it was like, wow, like, Ariana, I had obviously a natural birth. She was healthy as can be, and I took her home right away, and I didn't even think about what could happen, or,
About the families
having
that
her in
have
the
to
hospital.
stay.
Yeah, they had to stay. And just seeing all of that, it was like an eye opener. Like, wow, this is serious.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different cases in there. Obviously, Bella was the biggest child. It was so funny because they only have preemies in there.
Yeah.
So all their diapers are like size, newborn or
Preemie, yeah, tiny teenies, I think.
preemie or like size 1. Bella was a size 3 when she was born.
Ooh.
Oh
Do
my
you
god.
know who is wearing a size 3 right now? My 7
And
month old child.
Really?
And she barely got into them.
well, Bella was a newborn,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they had to go buy some because they didn't have any.
Oh wow.
I remember we thought that was like the funniest thing ever. Like, oh my God. And the nurses would come in and like, "Oh, did you really have a baby?" And I was like, yes, I did have a baby that's 11 pounds, 13 ounces. Jesus, like, how is, I know this is new, but do you guys really have to come and ask me this? They're like, we just had to ask. I think I had like 5 nurses come in and ask me.
How many hours a day would you guys spend there?
I don't really remember. So once we came home, I tried. So they talked to me right away, and they were like, we want you because we know you have a 1-year-old at home, so don't worry about your child here. She's fine. You have to take care of your stuff at home and take care of yourself and take care of your daughter, your oldest one. So I tried to spend more time here at home than in the hospital.
Mm.
But we would go in the morning as soon as we would get up. Luckily, I've had my mom here to be with Ariana, so I was able to just get up in the morning and straight to the hospital. We would be there probably like 2 hours or so, come back, have lunch with Ariana and spend some time with her, and then towards the evening would go back to the hospital to spend another 3 or 4 hours with Bella and then come back. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
Very exhausting because I think mentally, emotionally, physically, everything, there was just so many things going on, and nothing I would change. Maybe a few things, but it was definitely hard that I had to juggle all of that. Having my 1-year-old, having the newborn in the hospital, and then it just mentally I was very unstable. I was very like drained. Also, it was hard. It was hard, but luckily we went through it, and now all these kids are as healthy as can be.
Yeah.
So, when you were ready to plan for your third baby, was this something that you had to take into consideration when you were ready to start planning?
Yes, definitely, because right away they told me after I had Bella, they obviously asked me, did I want to tie my tubes? Did I want to, what was I going to do? Did I want to have another baby? So at that time, I wasn't ready to say, yeah, I don't want to have any more babies. That's it. I was still like, maybe let's not go there yet. So the one thing that they tell me is, if you get pregnant again, it'll be treated as a high risk pregnancy because of Bella. So you need to be prepared for that. And this can happen again. And then they scared the shit out of me when they said, and the babies only get bigger.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, look, I can. They're like, I'm just letting you know. And then it kind of made sense because Ariana was 8 pounds, 15 ounces, almost 9 pounds. And Bella was 11 pounds, 13 ounces. So I was like, I'm going to have a 14-pound baby next.
Oh my
I can't do
gosh.
this. So it took me a while to finally tell Robert, okay, let's, because Robert was really like, he wanted a third one. Ever since we started dating, he would always tell me he wanted 3 kids. I always only wanted 2, but
But your mom had 2 and his mom
yeah,
had 3. So it was
3.
kind of
Yeah.
like the dynamic you guys were used to.
Yeah, you're correct. After we had Bella, he kind of didn't push it because he knew that I was like, nope, 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 nope for a while. I was like, no, don't even ask me. Don't even mention it. But finally, when we decided, okay, let's try again. One more. That's it. Boy or girl, this is it. This is the last. I can't do this. I was definitely going into it with a very different mentality than I did with the girls, and a little more scared because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't want the same thing that happened with Bella happen this time around. So it was definitely, I had to take all of that into consideration, but we did it, and Gio is another big baby, healthy baby.
So how many pounds was he when he was born?
He was 9 pounds 11 ounces.
You hear this?
Did you have him vaginal?
Yes, all 3 of
Oh,
them.
okay.
Yep, all 3 of. They told me, so they actually told me, so we already know you can have big babies vaginally. So even if this baby is big, we're gonna let you have them
Oh wow,
vaginally.
they're like, you can do it.
They're
You
like,
did
girl, we
last
have faith.
time.
Yeah, they're like, girl, we got faith in you. And I was just staring at them like, no, no, that's not okay.
Oh my gosh.
Did
Yeah, so they basically right away told me that having the baby not vaginally was out of the question. So for sure we were gonna push for that. So, but they were very good at testing me. I think I got tested for the glucose every month. It was the nastiest thing ever, but I always came out very high. So they had to keep testing me just because I was kind of like borderline diabetic, borderline. So they just had to keep testing. Towards the end, it got worse. So they tested even more often, but I was never really diabetic. It was just like a roller coaster ride with Gio as far as the pregnancy went. But no, I never got diabetes with Gio either. So they had me on a strict diet that I never followed. I was like, who put you on a diet when you're pregnant? This is the only time you can eat.
I
No.
remember that. You're like, they want me to eat this and this and that. Nope, not gonna eat that. Yeah, right.
Oh
I was so mad. I would come home like, can you believe the nerve of it? They were, I think one of the doctors said, cravings are just all mental. No? Have you been pregnant, sir? Because
Sir.
clearly you don't know anything about being pregnant. It is not a mental thing. It is very real. But I would always come back all upset about it. Like, I cannot believe you guys told me that. Okay. They're like, well, your sugar levels are a little high. I'm like, ugh.
You just turned into the Hulk real quick.
Yeah. I think one of the ladies, like, she would see me there every month doing the test, and she was like, I feel so bad for you. I'm like, yeah, I feel bad for myself. And she said, they used to do this to me, and I think I forgot how many kids she told me she had, but I think she told me like the second time around, she told the doctor, just give me the medicine just give me the insulin. I don't want to take this test. I don't care. I'm not going to take care of myself. Just give me the insulin. I was like, oh my God. I'm about to go tell a doctor that.
That was an option? This whole time, that was an option.
I was like, why didn't they give me that option since the beginning? Why am I still doing this?
Yeah.
But he was okay. Everything turned out okay. He wasn't a 14-pound baby, thank God.
Yeah, that would have hurt.
So then let's get into your decision after this pregnancy, right? right when you found out you were having a boy, were you guys like, okay, that's it, I'm gonna tie my tubes, or you're gonna get a vasectomy, but that is it, 3 kids is
I actually, no, it was actually when we got pregnant.
okay?
So, girl, the minute I got pregnant, I said,
This is it.
this is it.
Uh-huh.
I looked at Robert, I said, this is it. I know you really want a boy, even though you want to sit there and say you don't care if this is another girl, but I cannot have a fourth child. There's no way in hell that my body can do that. So, yeah, this is it. This is boy or girl. This is it. You wanted 3 kids. 3 kids is all we're having. So, we didn't even know if I was having a girl or a boy when I signed the papers to get my tubes tied.
Okay.
I took him to the class with me. He was the only guy there, so he was super pissed. But I said, no, you're going to see what I have to go through. So, come on.
What was the class like?
Tell us.
So they just basically tell you what they do. So now they don't actually tie your tubes anymore, or at least not at Kaiser. They actually cut both of the tubes out completely.
Ooh. So is it reversible?
No, this is completely not reversible at all. The reason why they do it this way now, I mean, you still have an option. You can tell them, no, I want you to do it the other way. But the reason they started doing this way is because, just tying them, or before they would just cut like a small piece of it. What would happen is it would grow back and you would get pregnant again.
Whoa.
So now there's no way it can do that. And they also told me, so something I didn't know, because I remember they would always say, like, oh, if you're under 30, there's no way they're going to do it. If you only have 1 child or 2 kids, like you have to have 2 kids or 3 when you're under 30. But this is when I found out why. It's because, so they'll cut the tubes out, but when you're under the age of 30, it can grow back.
So the procedure you got done, if you're under 30, they could grow back?
I mean, it could. They said there is a possibility, but the chances for that to happen, because they cut it all off, are really, really low compared to the other ones. So that's why a lot of girls were getting pregnant again, because the other one, when you tie it or when you just cut a little bit, it would grow back because they were so young still. So then they would get pregnant again, which I also had one of my cousins. His wife had just gotten her tubes tied, probably a year prior to me, even getting pregnant and thinking about all of this. And she actually got pregnant again. But because she's younger than I am, and I'm going to be 32. But she's...
Hey. Don't talk about that.
But yeah, she's younger than I am. And so I guess, whatever... it grew back, or I don't know exactly what happened or what went wrong with her case, but so the cases before were really high. Like a lot of the girls were just getting pregnant, so they finally did this one. They decided to do this one, and it's more like, no, they're not going to get pregnant anymore.
It's the safer route to
it's the safer
guarantee
route to guarantee. My See, the way I wanted to do it was, I'm going to do it and Robert does it too, right? Because that, there's no way.
It's impossible.
I was like, Robert, we both have to do it. He was really good about it. He was like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do this. And I don't want you to go through all of that. You're already going to have him, and then you're going to have to go through that too. He's like, no, I'll just do it. It's an easier procedure for a guy. And they did explain that to us. For a guy, it's a very easy procedure. They literally go in and come back out, and the next day they're like nothing ever happened.
What?
So so he told me I'll do it, but I said, how about we both do it?
You're like, I'm still willing to both do it.
Yeah, I am so okay. So he was like, no, if you're gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. I go, why? I want to make sure we don't have another child. But I was very set on, I don't want to have another baby.
What else did they tell you in that class? It's just, it goes over.
They go over as far as like, are you sure? They kind of tell you. So obviously now you're at risk of going through menopause on an earlier age. So they talk about that. They talk about it's not reversible. So God forbid something happens to one of your kids, are you going to want to get pregnant again? You can't. So you have to keep that in your head. Like, that's not going to happen. Or what if you get a divorce from your husband and you marry somebody else and you want to have kids with that person? You can't.
Yeah.
So they actually talked to me about that twice. They also told me I was still kind of young to do it, even though I was already 30 something. But I was kind of already set. I said, no, I know what you guys are saying, but hopefully nothing happens to my marriage, nothing happens to my kids, and we're gonna be okay. But no, I there's no way I can just risk having another baby. I'm not good with taking birth control. I'm not good with doing any of that stuff. Let's just get this over with. This is it. So I signed the papers even before we knew that we were having a boy. So Robert was kind of like nervous, like, shit, this is my last chance. This is it. There's no going back. There's no.
Oh my gosh.
He was very nervous, but yeah, that's all they talk about.
Did they go over at all what the recovery was going to be like for you?
Oh yeah, they did. They did. So they told me you have the option of doing it the day you give birth to the baby, or you can also do it after. But they recommend you do it right after you have the baby, like right when you have the baby, just because you don't feel the recovery so much as because you're recovering already from giving birth to a baby. Versus if you wait, now you have to go back to the hospital, do the procedure, and now you're going to be in pain again.
Yeah.
So sadly, so many things were going wrong already the day that we went into the hospital. Their system was down.
Oh, shit.
So they were doing everything by hand written, nothing on the computer. And the paper I signed was in the computer.
Oh my gosh.
They almost didn't do it that day, but I was like, really, like, you guys have to do it. Like, there's no way. Like, I already signed the paper because they won't do it without that paper
Yeah, without
signed.
your authorization, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we almost didn't do it, but they did push it. The only thing I was super upset about, I'm such a fat ass, but I was just sad because I couldn't eat until after they did the procedure. They were like, it could go one or two ways. You can have the baby and they right away do the procedure right after, or you might have to wait, depending on how many cases we have that we have to do a C, the C-section or any of that. So depending on what cases we get, that's going to determine when you're going to get your surgery. I was like, oh my God. And sadly, there was a lot of them that day. So I was just like, man, I want to eat. So I had Geo at 7:25. I didn't get the procedure done till 3. And
Dang,
I
so
didn't
you were
get to
starving
eat.
all day.
Yeah, I didn't get to eat till 5. I think it was like
Wow.
right before you and Ernie came to visit Jessica. That's when I finally ate. It was painful. I thought it was going to be less pain, but it was painful. They took me to the room and they told me, you still have the epidural going. So we can leave you like that or we can put you fully to sleep. And I'm scared of going fully to sleep. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to wake back up. Just leave me like this. So they took me into the room to do the procedure, and they're like, okay, the anesthesiologist was like, I'm going to be in the room with you all the whole time. So the minute you feel any pain, like if I look at your face and you're in pain, I'm putting you to sleep. I don't care. I was like, oh my God, okay. That's when I got really scared. I think that's the moment when I was sitting in the room waiting to get transferred to the surgery room. That's when I was like, what? Maybe I don't want to do this. Like, that's when I got really anxious and very nervous. And I felt like crying because then they came to talk to me again. And I mean, obviously I just had Gio, so I was all like super emotional. But I remember like just like thinking like maybe I shouldn't do this. And then the doctor came in and talked to me about, are you sure you want to do this? You know, you won't be able to have another baby. This is not reversible. Everything that they had already spoken to me before,
Yeah,
like,
like this is your last
this
chance.
is your last chance to tell me no. I was so close to saying, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I was just thinking that, like, what if something does happen to one of my kids?
Yeah,
What if?
I would be like, what if something happens to me? I just had a new baby. I'm gonna go into this operation, and what if I don't come out?
Yeah, yeah. So all of these things just started going through my head. And I was really close to almost saying, you know what, no, don't do it. I was really afraid of what the outcome was going to be. But I still was like, no. I kept hearing my mom's voice on this.
No more babies.
No more babies. I'm not taking care of any more babies. I was like, no, I can't have any more kids. Just do it, doctor. Just take me to the room. So they took me to the room. They put you into this like metal. So uncomfortable.
Metal.
Um, yeah, it was, I don't know. And they put me there. And then
Wait, what
I was
is
like, all
that?
right. Then to the surgery room
Okay.
to do the surgery. So it's like they transfer you from a regular bed to like a. Have you ever, like in the movies, that they literally put you in like a metal. And it's like, what are they called? I don't even know what they're called.
Gurney?
But yeah,
What's a
I don't
metal
know.
what? Like the thing, like a table that you lay on?
Yeah, like a table, like a metal
Okay.
table. They literally put you on the metal table. So they laid me there, and then they tried to put me as comfortable as they could. But then the doctor starts cutting. And girl, let me tell you, I felt it.
Oh no.
And I thought to myself, holy shit, I'm not going to make it
Oh
through this. And I
no.
kind of like squinted a little bit. And the anesthesiologist was like right over my head. And he was like, you feel it, huh? You feel it, right? I said, I just kind of nodded my head saying yes.
Uh
And he said, okay, count to 10. You're going to
huh.
sleep. I said, oh my God. And then the next thing I know, I just hear, good morning, Miss Escobar. Everything. No, good. Yeah, he said good morning, but it wasn't even good morning. Good
No.
morning, Miss Escobar. Everything went great. The procedure went amazing. You hardly even bled. I was like, oh, gee, thanks. I feel like crap.
Oh man.
They took me to the recovery room. I was there for a few hours, and then that's when they took me back to the room with Robert and Gio, and that's when the pain kind of started. It's like this, it feels like they're stabbing you inside. But they didn't stitch me up because I didn't bleed. So they actually just put glue
Oh.
on the cut. I was like,
A little
oh,
Elmer's glue.
yeah. It's like, oh, I'm glued. Gee,
Oh my
thanks.
gosh. So, how do you feel your aftercare, your recovery was compared to the girls now that you had this procedure done?
It was more painful, definitely, this time around. As far as like my stomach, it was like in a lot of pain. The
Did they
first
give
2
you
days.
any type of like pain management to help with that?
Yes, they gave me Motrin because that's all they can give me was either Tylenol or Motrin. So they gave me Motrin, but it didn't help. The pain was really, really bad.
Yeah, I think they gave me Motrin like to come home with just after having the baby. So it's like, man, I had a baby and I got my tubes tied. You got to give me like the
Yeah,
good
you need to give me
stuff.
some hardcore stuff.
Yes.
But you were
No,
breastfeeding Gio, so you
yes,
couldn't
and
do that.
Kaiser's really big on breastfeeding, so
Oh
they
my
did
gosh.
not
That's
want to
right.
give me any medication stronger. Like they were not trying to give me formula for him or anything like that. So they were like, no, this is all we can give you. This is what you're gonna take. So it was painful the first 2 days, and after that I felt a little bit better, and then it was smooth after that. It wasn't bad. But after the 2 days, it was pretty smooth. It was just the first 2 days that were kind of like I could feel some like stabbing in there or something. But
Some added pain.
yeah, there was. I was like, oh. So after that, we were good. It wasn't as painful anymore. Good smooth recovery.
How do you feel about the decision now that it's all made and done with?
Well, the first few months, I was like, what did I do? And I would just cry. Like, I was like, why did I do this? Like, what? I just felt like something was taken away from me. It was like so weird. I don't know if it was just all in my head because it wasn't painful. I wasn't feeling it anymore, but I would feel empty inside. Like there was a hole in there. It was weird. It was weird. For a while, I felt like that. I did have to see a therapist for all of that. But for a little bit, I just felt like, was this the right decision? I'm never going to be able to have kids again. This is it. This is no going back. And it messed with me for a little bit as far as mentally. But now that my life is very hectic, I'm like, oh yeah, we made the right decision.
Now that we're in quarantine, you're like,
No,
woo,
oh, yeah.
we did a good one.
Yeah, there's no way I'm having a fourth child. Yeah. Now that we're stuck at home, I'm definitely like, oh no, there's no way. No way. Now I'm okay with it. Now I'm at peace with it and just trying to take care of these kids now.
Well, good. I mean, I'm glad that I remember when you were going through all that, I'm glad that you decided to see a therapist and get that extra time to heal and be with the kids and figure out what the new normal was going to be. Because it is crazy what's another kid into the picture.
It's everything but normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely. I thought it was hard when I had the girls back to back. I thought that was really hard. But then now that I think about it, it was obviously hard. You know, you have two kids, two babies. There were two babies for me. But I felt Gio a lot harder. Just because we were done with diapers, I was sleeping through the night because the girls are in their room asleep and I can just go to my bed and go to sleep. Versus now, 4 years later now, we have to wake up in the middle of the night and we have to do all of that again. So I think it was harder this time around than when I had the girls back to back, just because of that. I was already used to it, right? With Ariana, I was still.
You were still doing the baby days.
Baby stuff, yeah.
Yep.
And then 4 years after, I'm like, basically
this all
done,
over again.
Done here, let's do it again.
I feel like for me, I enjoyed the break because Justine is able to entertain herself and I'm just go over there, go read a book or go color, and then I could just go to the other room and put the baby to sleep, and once she's asleep then I get to spend some time with Justine, and it hasn't been too bad. She's been a trooper through all this, and mainly because she is like, I wanted this. This is what I wanted. I wanted a sister. And so I'm going to do whatever I need to because this is what I asked for.
She said she wanted a Bella.
Uh-huh.
I really hope she doesn't get Bella's attitude.
No, but you know what she says? She says that she wishes she was Bella so that Anna could be her sister.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Oh, so speaking of Anna, so like we said earlier, her 6th birthday just passed, and
oh my god,
yes.
And it was super, super heartbreaking that we could not have a birthday party for her because of this whole pandemic.
Yes, it was. It was hard to explain it to her. This whole thing has been hard. Our day-to-day is always very hectic. We're always on the run. We're always on the weekends. Forget about it. We're always somewhere. We're never home.
Yeah, Vanessa, I think your family's pretty similar to that too.
Yeah, during the week we're pretty, routine schedule, but yeah, the weekends we're gone. We're like Disneyland all weekend, wherever we can be except here because we're here all week,
Yeah, exactly. So now they're like asking, like, why are we not going anywhere? Why are we not visiting family? What's going on? So about 2 weeks back, I kind of was starting to, okay, this and this is going on. And especially to Ariana, because I was like, your birthday's coming up. And her first question was, well, are my cousins coming over? I was like, no, about that. We're not going to have a party. Remember, I told you, there's a lot of sick people out there right now, and we do not want to get sick, so we cannot have anybody over right now. She understood it. God blessed me with a very good child. But yeah, she understood, but she was still, what I liked, what I like about Ariana, she's able to tell me her feelings, and she's able. So she did tell me she knew what was going on, and she understood it, but she was still telling me, like, I'm still sad about it. Like, I get it, I know, and I know it's not my fault, and it's not anybody else's fault, but I'm still sad. I'm still sad that I can't have them over and I can't have a party. So I was just like, what are we gonna do? Like, there's no way we cannot do something for her. And I think one of the times she did tell me, she said, Mom, I'm very sad because my cousins won't be here for my birthday. But I think she saw my reaction to what she said that. Like, I was like, yeah, but. So she turns and looks at me and she says, but Mom, you guys are all I need. Oh,
She's so
that broke my heart
sweet.
into pieces. So I made it my mission to do something for her, and everything was a success and was better than I could have asked for, and she loved it. We had a spa day here at the house. I did facials, manicure, pedicures, everything you could think of. We did it. And then the one thing that I know it's gonna stay with her forever, it was the parade of cars and seeing everybody. That was very emotional, but also like made her very happy.
Yeah, every time I think about it, I get like all teary eyed.
Dude, I watched your video on Instagram and I was sitting there just bawling my
Oh my
eyes out,
gosh.
like, oh my God, because it's like, it's such a special time for a child. It's
Yeah.
their birthday. It's such a huge deal. And just to think that, like, this pandemic basically tried to steal these moments away from us, but just how sweet it was to see that everybody still showed up for her and made it special. It was just so touching and so heartwarming.
Yes.
And it made me sad because I know I have to celebrate my niece's birthday at the end of this month the same exact way, and all of the birthdays to come until this is over. So it really hit home, to
I
see.
had seen the videos prior, like other people were doing the same thing, and I would cry. I think
Yeah.
for like a whole week, I would just cry every single day. And Robert's just, Robert is Robert, so he'll just make fun of me. Shut up, get out of here. But the day of, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I can't let her see me cry because she's gonna be like, why are you crying? So I didn't want to cry, but it was so heartwarming to see the love that we all have for each other, and it just made me realize
Yeah.
like we are all in this together. And
Yeah.
Everybody decorated their cars
yeah,
and honked their horns for her.
yeah, she did not know what to do with herself.
That's so cute.
Like her little face was like, what do I cry? Am I happy? What am I?
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I felt like, I was thinking about it and I was like bummed. We are trying to make the little sign for her and stuff. I'm like, oh, I wish we could stay. But, just didn't understood. But then we're on the way there and I asked Lily if she was coming, and she's just like, I don't know. She doesn't want to see me. She wants to see the kids. And
yeah.
plus, I feel sad. And then I was like, I feel sad too. And then I just started crying in the back seat. And then Ernie's driving and he's looking in his rearview mirror and he's just like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I want to get off.
No,
Like,
she
I
was
miss
happy to see.
everyone.
You know, she's such from. I mean, I don't know how Gio's gonna be, and I know Bella obviously loves all her family too, but Ariana is very like my family, my family. Like, I want my family here. Like, it's not much about her friends; it's her family. And even when I asked when we cut her cake when she blew the candle, like right before I asked her like, "Well, are you gonna make a wish?" She goes, "Yeah," and she's like, "I want to tell you." So then Robert's like, "Don't tell us, because they're not gonna come true." She goes, "But I want to tell you guys." And we're like, "Okay, tell us." And she goes, "I just want to wish for all my family to be happy."
No.
So she's very like family oriented. Like she's all about her family. So even like, my brother, it wasn't just the kids that she wanted to see. I feel like I feel like she just wanted to see everybody. Obviously, the kids were the high priority, right? But
Yeah.
she was happy to see every single one of you guys. She was just like, in her face, it was like, oh my God,
I
they're
know.
actually here.
Even Bella was so excited too.
I know.
She's like,
That,
ah!
yeah,
She's
Bella.
like,
Oh
it's my
gosh.
birthday too.
Bella's she's a social butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana's my shy one, but yeah, Bella's very dramatic, social butterfly. So any little thing she'll yell for
Yeah.
of excitement, and then Ariana will just cry on the side.
Oh yeah. Afterwards, when you asked her, how did you feel about that? She's like, I was just so happy I was gonna cry.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was
She couldn't believe it because we kept telling her nobody's coming, nobody's coming, and when she saw that the people she wanted to see, the people that she was expecting like every single year was there, it just made her day. She's like, it's gonna stay with her forever. And they're in an age where they remember.
well, yeah, 6 is like you
That's
kind
what
of remember
that's
from
what
there.
kind of broke my heart. It's like they're in the age where they remember. They're wishing for everything, and we're not gonna be able to do all of that for them, right? And their birthdays at this point a very big deal because of that. So it was very hard to try to figure out, how to go about it. I was also very like, I don't know if I want to do that at first because I didn't know emotionally how she was gonna do with it. She did good, I think.
Good,
I
yeah.
did worse than she did.
Me too, and I wasn't even hardly there.
I know. I was like, I'm not gonna cry, and I saw my cousin's wife when they passed. Her eyes were red, and her face was red, like she was just bawling, like crying, like it looked like she was just like crying hard, like. And I was like, but I started right after that's when I started crying. I was like, I told myself I was not gonna cry. The turnout was perfect. It
Yeah.
couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
I know the kids. I could see the kids like Justine, Olivia, Allegra, Ethan. I know Elise and Jade, and they're still little babies, but the older ones, I can see it in their face that they were like, "Let me out of the car." They wanted to jump out.
I
They
know.
looked kind of sad. It was just, yeah, it's hard right now, but
Yeah.
we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna see each other and hug each other again, and the kids are gonna play again.
Yeah.
That's
Day
what
by
I'm looking
day.
forward to. And you guys will be able to enjoy Geo.
I know.
Tomorrow, can I see my cousin Justine again?
We can call her
Yeah, we
tomorrow.
can call tomorrow.
Okay.
She's sleeping right now.
She went night already. You should go to sleep already too.
But Mama, when I stay awake for a lot of times, then I will go to sleep.
Okay.
See, I knew you were gonna have so much to share with us. We already
I
went over
know.
our hour.
Of course we did. So, Bella's a social butterfly thanks to her mother. I try to pin everything on Robert, but she's dramatic just like her mother. So, yes. Yes, that's where she gets it from.
No, but I like it. She's sweet too. Cindy, thanks for sharing all that with us. It was super informative. I had no idea about how the tube thing went, and I did learn more about what happened with the Bella situation.
Well, thank you for having me and letting me share a little bit of my story with these children.
Thank you so much, Cindy. We loved it. Love all the stories you had to share with us today.
And I love sharing them with you guys and laughing about it.
Alright, guys, well, we have many, many more episodes to come. We're working our little hearts out during this time that we're home. But otherwise, you guys can see us on Instagram, Google us. But let them know. Nice.
Until then, guys, stay moody.
Say Moody Mommies.
Moody Mommies.
Moody Mommies Podcast.